today we're going to do something very interesting with Docker. We're going to just make a really simple application, then build the Docker image for that application, run the Docker image inside a container, and push our image to Docker Hub for other developers to see it. So before we get started again, make sure that you have downloaded the Docker setup, and it's actually advisable, it's recommended that you follow the guide on docker.com, because otherwise you may run into so many other issues that you may not really know about. But it's better you follow the guide. We're not going to go into this right now, but if you really need another guide on how to safely install our Docker desktop on Windows or on Linux, just let me know in the comments down below. We'll find some time to do that for you. Yes, so let's get started. I already have a simple Node.js server right here inside index.js file, and I have a package.json file, just my dependencies and scripts. So how do we Dockerize our application? The first thing we need to do is to create the Docker file. So make sure that you capitalize your first letter Docker file. Just write it like this, Docker file. The first letter is capitalized and others are just not capitalized. Choose the right base image. Actually, what is a base image? So as you already know, your computer needs an OS to run applications. So base image is actually like an OS, but not really like an OS, but it helps, it's where your application will run inside a container. So we are going to use, for this case, we're going to use Alpine. We can even use like Linux, we can use Windows, we can use any other one, but in our case we just have to we don't have a lot of things configured, we just have a simple Node.js server, so we have to use Alpine. But then Alpine, we don't want to use like the whole thing of Alpine, we just need to specify our stack. We're just using Node, and yeah. So for you to find out more about the base images, you can just there's so many other you can use. We have here Alpine, we have Ubuntu, Debian. I've just searched for Linux and then they gave me this. Oh, let's see when we search for Windows. This is what we get. I haven't used this so far, but you can just go beyond and explore more. So now, after choosing the right base image, what we need to do next is we need to choose the working directory. So we imagine like we are already inside our Docker image and there is nothing there, completely nothing. So we have this application right here, but all this is on our local machine. We don't have anything inside our Docker image. So we're going to just work directory, not really, okay, work directory, and we choose the path. In our case, we just need like, maybe let's say app, that's what a working directory. And yeah, after choosing a working directory, so we have created our working directory inside the Docker image, but there is still nothing there inside the directory. We just have an empty directory. So how do we like take all these files, everything we have right here, inside the Docker image? So we have to copy the files. We just use the copy command and source. Yeah, they brought this kind of, okay, source. So it's like, where do we copy the files from? In this case, it's just right here in this directory. Maybe you may just have your files on desktop, you just have to specify it, but just in our case, right here inside this directory. And then where we, like destination, I guess this is what it shows, I'm not really sure, but destination, the destination of our files inside the Docker image. Since we are working inside the app directory, so we just have to go there. App. Yeah. So we have copied the files there, but still, you know, as if you have already been using Node.js or JavaScript, before you do something, you have to, before you run your application, you have to install the dependencies that you have used in your application. So that's what we're going to do, install dependencies. And to do this, we just have to do run, hey, npm install. And then after installing the dependencies, we need, of course, to run our application. And to do that, okay, run application. To do that, we just need to type cmd. So the way I have just said inside my scripts, to run my application, I'll just use this start command. So I will come and it's npm start. All right, so now we have our Docker file, and looks like this is really enough in our case. Okay, so guys, now you're going to build your first Docker image for your application. So the first thing you need to do is to make sure that your Docker application is running. Open your Docker, just open your Docker desktop application. Yeah, that's what you have to do. Otherwise, you will run into some issues, which are really not necessary. Okay, so now to build your Docker image, you're going to do docker build, and then you specify the directory of your Docker image. So in your case, make sure like you really specify the directory. Actually, it's directory of the Docker file, not like your application of your Docker file. So yeah, the image now is done building. As you can see, like it really goes through every single step right here and makes sure that it creates the directory. Sorry. It even copies the files inside the directory and runs or installs all the dependencies and everything. So you can see right here. Yeah. So the next thing we need to do, like, how do we make sure, like, as you can see, there is no any changes, but actually we have built our Docker image, but there isn't any changes here. So how do you make sure that our image has really been built? So we just have to do docker, oops, what's happening? We just have to do docker build, Docker images. Yeah. We have our image right here, and we have image ID, we have like the tag and repository, but the problem is that our repository is none, the tag is none, and the reason is that the command that we used, which is really this one, really it had no image name, it had no tag name, so we can do that. So to specify the repository name, we just have to do /t, -t, and then we specify the name, which is, maybe let's say it's Node.js server. You can just name it anything else you want, and then specify the tag. But before we specify the tag, let's just do this and see what happens. Yeah, it's doing like everything we told it to do. Every time we run an image, we build an image, it has to go through every single step right here. Every single step. Yeah. So it's done building. So now let's check the images we have. We have, oh yeah, we have it. No, it's not just server, and the tag gave us the latest tag, which is actually the default tag. And so where is our previous image? Because we have built the image earlier, but where is it? And when we come even on our desktop application, we can only see the tag that we have created right, 22 minutes ago? Yeah, I've done actually this before, so that's maybe why. So yeah, I was going to say what? I was going to say like, why is it that the previous image we created, right? This one that had repository none and tag none cannot be seen, like cannot be seen right here, and it cannot even be seen on the desktop application. I think it's actually because the Docker cannot recognize it since it doesn't have a repository, since it doesn't have the tag. I think maybe that's why it cannot be able to keep it. I think that's why. But if you have another reason, you can just let us know in the comments, or if you figure it out later, share with us. So we have our image running. How can we now specify like our tag without just like the default tag? So to specify our tag, we can just do like, as you can see, just do this and specify the tag. Maybe we just name this version 1. So the reason we need tags is that they really help us to like separate our projects into different parts, so that if someone comes, if we want to share maybe the previous version of our project, they can find it they can find it, or the latest they can find it. And this can really be even much easier to work in like on a very big project in a certain group or organization. Yeah, so let's now check our images. Yeah, we have 2 images now. The one with the default tag and the one that has the tag that we gave it, version 1. Beautiful. So now we have built our Docker images, and the next step is to run our Docker image. Okay, now to run our Docker image, we just have to do Docker run, and then our repository name, which is Node.js server, and then we specify the tag of our image. You need to make sure like you really specify the tag. It's really very important. Otherwise, if you don't specify the tag, it will run like the latest one. So let's try that before we go on, and it's just this one, Docker run, then the repository name. So let's check it out. Actually, it's running, but it cannot really show like the one it is running, but I'm really sure that it's running the latest one. So how do we actually close, like it's running on port 3000, which is really the same like I'm running from. Yeah, it's the same port. So how do we actually close the terminal? When I press like Control C, it really can. So I can just come right here and see on the running containers. Yeah, it's right here. It's running from a container, and to stop it, I just have to just click here or just do delete. But no, it's really not advisable to delete a running image. You just have to stop it before you delete it. But we cannot just do this right here, because I just want to make sure that we do everything from the command line, so that you can just get used to it. So I may just create another terminal and just do Docker stop, and then I specify the image that I'm running, and the image name is. We didn't really specify like the image, the container name that we wanted. We just did run the image. So it really gave us like a random name of our container. We shall look at that later, but let's do that. Let's use that name. Fervent what? How do we read that? Let me see. Fervent what? Really? Okay. I think this is the name. Yep. Now, as you can see, it has been exited. So let's see. Why is it that it gives us like a random name? What if we want What if we want to run our image inside a container that we have already given a name? To do that, we can just do docker run, and we just hyphen, double hyphen, and then name, something like this. Hope it's really clear. It's hyphen, hyphen, and then name, and then we specify the name of our container. Let's say it's Node.js server. And then also, after specifying the name of the container, and we specify the name of the image that we want to run. Let's press enter and see. Yeah, it's running. Sorry about this. I'm playing a music in the background. So, as you can see, we have now a container named Node.js server. Wow. And do you remember how to exit our container from the terminal? Because you can just do that by just clicking on this button, stop button. But in the terminal, you can just come on another terminal and just do npm, not in docker build, docker stop, and then we specify like the name of our container. We just called it Node.js server. Yeah. So when we come back on our desktop, it's not really running, and yeah. So the next thing is that when I run again, what's the problem? What did you use? I'm trying to run this, but they're telling me that the container name is in use, which is, I just have to specify actually the tag. You see that? Nope. Container name, which means I have to specify a different container. So we can just delete that to create. I delete this and I delete this one too to create another container with the same name. Server, Node.js server. So when I run this, they're telling me that it's listening on port 3000. So let's get there and see. We expect to see / and then a message called "Hi there, learn with me." So when I go on the browser, and I've tried this before, and I guess that's why. When I refresh the page, put on localhost 3000, it's not really working. Do you know why? The reason is that it's really running, the port 3000 is running inside a container, not on our local machine. And yeah, that's why. So how do we access this port on our local machine, on our browser, and yeah, be able to see the output? So what you need to do, let's first go there back, and now we are just good to just stop it from here, since we know how to do that from the command line. So how do we do that? So what you need to do, let me type that out just to be on the same page with you. Docker run, or we just have to specify the name. It's Node.js server. Do we actually have or you deleted it? We still have Node.js, so it won't be able to run since we have the same container. Node.js server, and then, but before we do that, we just have to specify the port. We can do that. It's just -p, right? -p, and then specify the port. First, let me just do this. Port 1, and then this port 2. Wait, port 2. So let me explain this. But before, what am I doing? Repository name. Node.js server. Let's run maybe version 1, since we have this image right here. Remember, where is it? Oh, I changed the terminal. Okay. So the reason is that we just have to specify the first port, which is the port that we want like to open on our local machine on our browser. Let's call this 8080, and then the second port is the port that our container is running from. So which means that we have two ports that we want to merge. One port on our local machine, we want to merge it with another port inside our container that's running on 3000. So I hope that really makes sense to you. So let's run and see. If there's something you don't really understand so far, just comment down below. We shall reach out as possible as we can, as soon as possible. Unable to find image called Node.js server. Did we make version 1 locally? Oh, so we made a mistake. We don't have this kind of image, I guess. Let's do this and see. We have images, Docker images. Make sure like before you run any Docker command, just include like a Docker, this Docker keyword, images. So we don't have version 1 just like this. We just have version and then -1. Yeah, that's why. If you run into the same error, just make sure that's the case. And let's see now. Yeah, it's listening on port 3000 inside the Docker. And remember we said that on port 8080, it's 80,080 on our local machine is being matched to port 3000. So when you go and check out on our browser and it's port localhost port 880, wait, what? Let's see. Yeah, hi there, learn with me. That's the output we actually expected right here on the home page. So yeah, is that all about running the Docker image? I guess that's all. Maybe not all, you can explore even more. And so guys, thank you so much. But yeah, I remember something that I have to mention. Let's first quit, like go to another terminal and do docker stop Node.js server. And it has stopped it. What if you want like to run this one again? Like you don't really want to keep on running a new container every time, yet you haven't made any changes so far. So what you need to do, you can just come right here and do like press start button. But if you want to do that in the command line, you can just do, let's see, I minimized my window. Oh my god, this is really a mess. I can just do like, okay. Oops, sorry. So I just have to do like docker run, like start. I don't have to do run, because if I do run, then it means I want to run an image, my image again. So which will create that kind of error that says you already have a certain, actually let's do that. Why do I have to say that in words? Yeah, it's actually this one. Run on port this one and then Node.js server version 1. Let me try to do that. Oops. It's actually created. It created a new one. And the reason why it created a new one is because we didn't specify like the name of our container. So let me just quit this one and do delete. So if I come right here and say the same command, I say on port this one 3000, run a Docker, like I want my Docker container to be named, like I have to specify name, and then our Node.js server, and then yeah, Node.js server version 1 image. Let's run this. So it will give me an error that says this Node.js server container is already in use by another container. So yeah, that's actually what we have to expect from this, because we already have a container running and we are trying to run the same container again with the same name. Like we're creating a new container with the same name, which would really like create so much, like it won't work. So what we need to do when we want to run, we don't want to create a new container, we just want to run this one, not just from here, but from the command. We can just do that. We can do like docker start. It's not running now because we don't want to run the image. We want just to start the container that have been exited. Let's see. Start the Node.js server. Okay, now it's running as you can see it, and then we can just do again docker stop Node.js server. Now it has exited. Yeah, so this is it about running your Docker, your Docker image inside a container. Okay, so now guys, it's time to push our Docker image on Docker Hub. So if you already know GitHub, it's the same idea. Docker Hub is also another place for you to push your images to be accessed by other developers, either your team or So to push your work on Docker Hub, first of all, you need to have an account. I already have mine, so if you don't have one, just go on hub.docker.com. You create an account, you create your username, and then that's what you're going to be using to push your work on Docker Hub. So first of all, we're going to use this guide. Maybe I will share the link in the description. So the commands we're going to use, just this one, pushing a Docker container image to Docker Hub. Let's get started. So as we already have the images, we just have used Docker images. We have, I've created a lot of images. I was just doing some stubborn stuff, trying to see before I record the video. So the images we created before, they were this one latest and version 1 too. So now let's try to push these images on Docker Hub. So we're just going to use these commands. First of all, we need to do this retagging an existing local image. So the thing we're going to do, let me do ls. Clear. It's docker tag and then an existing image. As we have seen, our image is this Node.js server, or I can even just use just the image ID. But okay, just to keep on what we have been doing before, Node.js server, and then after that I have to mention like my Docker Hub account or a username. That's this one, and then after that the repository name and the tag. So how I want to name this image on my Docker Hub account. So it's still Node.js server, and then the tag, which is maybe let's use latest or version 1. Let's see. Yeah, so after that we do docker push. We just this command. When you make some changes on your image, you just have to do some commits, but you can just keep on playing with so many other commands out there for Docker for you to get an experience of it, run into some errors, go on Stack Overflow, solve it, and come back and try it out. So we're going to do docker push. We're using this one, and then my username, repo name, which is Node.js server, and then the tag version 1, and then we push. So while doing this, while pushing on your repository, you may run into some errors like access denied stuff that you cannot do, that you need to create tokens, but you can just do like Docker been doing some stuff right here. So I just changed the terminal, nothing new, just changed the terminal. So I'm doing I did Docker login to because when they say access denied, so which means you need just to log into your account. I did that, but then they were saying like our access, I wish there was a way I could record the errors to just show you, but they may say that you need to do some token stuff, like you need to use the token because you don't have to trust your ID, but it's still running. If you run into some errors, any other error or token stuff, you can just check it out on Stack Overflow. You might find more other developers who have had the same error before, and yeah, fun things that work. Yeah, it worked. Yeah, as you can see, now I have the repository on my account. So if someone wants to use it, can come like download right here and then be able like to run the image, just like the same steps that we have been going through. And yeah, that's it. So guys, again, if you liked the video, remember to press the like button and also subscribe to my channel. Support me in any way, because I'll be like, the more you like the video, the more I just know that you really need this kind of content, and I'll be providing more contents like this to help you guys at the same time while learning. So as I'm learning, I also want to share things that I'm learning with the world too. So if you like it, just let me know in the comments, and if you've run into some errors or any other kind of issue, or you just want to know something, just comment down below and I'll reach out to you as soon as possible. Thank you so much, guys. Bye.